we can go ahead and get started. I'll have you start in Shavasana, so just laying down with your head facing the front of the room.
Which is the front.
Yeah,
we're all different.
You're good. Yeah, head facing the front of the room is just traditional practice. Go ahead and take a deep breath in. And exhale, release. And just begin to settle in as you do. Just become aware of the earth beneath you, supporting you in the space. Just taking a moment to come into awareness of the space around you. The four walls, the windows, the door, the earth beneath. And just connecting here in this space. Today's practice, we are in the month's theme of heart-centered awakening, and this week we are focusing on expanding the heart's potential. So I'd like to invite you to place one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. And just breathe here in these spaces, feeling into the expansion as you inhale through the lungs, the chest, the belly. Just feel the body begin to soften. Connecting here with your heart center, your heart's potential, the boundless capacity for love and compassion and healing within you. Connecting with our heart's potential transforms the way we experience the world around us. Let each breath nurture the potential for your heart, the ways in which we receive and share love with the world. Allow that expansion to radiate outward. I'll share a couple of affirmations for this practice today. If one resonates with you, feel free to incorporate it, repeating it silently throughout your practice. Or you can take a moment to set an intention for your practice here. I am open to the love and compassion that flows from my heart. I am open to the love and compassion that flows through my heart. My heart's potential is ever expanding. My heart's potential is ever expanding. I open my heart to the infinite possibilities of love and compassion. I open my heart to the infinite possibilities of love and compassion. Whenever you're ready, coming to a seated position, facing the front of the room. You're going to have your blocks nearby. We'll begin in butterfly, so just bringing the soles of the feet together, and you can place the blocks underneath the thighs if there's some gap here between your knees and the earth. You can put them further up, you can put them more under the knees or even the shins. Just find what feels supported to you. Since we will be holding these postures for a couple of minutes, just make sure that you feel supported in these poses, that you feel stable, and that you are comfortable, into a place where you can really let yourself release and relax into a posture. So finding a nice long spine, draw the shoulders down away from the ears, lengthening the spine on the inhale. Just taking a couple breaths here. In through the nose. Exhale, release. Just let the breath flow organically. Thinking about the base of the spine, your root, connecting with the earth. And just awakening the space of stability and connection. You can stay here, or if you would like to, you can walk the hands out and let the head hang heavy and the spine round. Let the breath soften the hips. They're supported here. Walk the hands back, bring the head up less. And removing the blocks. Setting them aside. We'll come into tabletop. So you may want to bring your blanket to your mat just to give a little cushion for the knees. And we'll bring our knees towards the edges of the mat. So we'll find tabletop, bring our knees towards the edges of the mat, big toes together, and then we'll send the hips back for child's pose. You can bring your bolster between the knees if you'd like to bring the earth a little closer to you. Since we will be here for a couple of minutes, make sure you use all the props to feel supported here. And just think about the breath traveling to the base of the spine on the exhale. And on the inhale, that breath traveling to the crown of the head. And as you breathe here, just opening the heart space to the earth beneath you. We want to make sure that we're using props and yin yoga to support us, honoring our bodies where they are today, making sure to provide support so that we can rest at about 70% effort. So we focus on the breath here, begin to tune into what it feels like to expand the space, the rhythm of your breath as you are in a resting posture. If the breath feels labored or strained, this is often an indication that we are needing to make some adjustments for our body. Expanding our heart's potential also involves the ways in which we care for ourselves, the ways that we nurture our body and our mind and our spirit. Gaze comes towards the front of the mat. And we're going to shift our body weight forward, coming to our forearms and bringing the legs out long behind us. Our bellies to the mat, elbows stacked underneath the shoulders. You can also bring the arms out to the edges of the mat. This decreases the load in the lower back. So if it's a little too intense here, just make any adjustments that you need. And if you need to come all the way out of this, if this isn't comfortable for you, you can also just bring your forearms to the top of the mat and rest. So pressing the forearms into the earth, draw the shoulder blades together and open the heart center. Gaze comes between the hands. Let the legs just kind of relax. Let the hips be heavy. Just breathe into the space of the belly. Thinking of this as an exchange with the earth's energies, grounding presence, connecting with the source of fire within you. This is always a place where we can seek nourishment. So if we bring our bellies to the earth and we breathe into the earth, we can ask for that energy transfer to connect here and nourish our bodies with the vibration of the earth. And as we rest here, think about drawing that energy from the belly into the heart space. Drawing that alchemizing, strong, warm energy into the heart space. And let it fill the space, and think about the expansion of your heart's energy here. How we share our energy with the world around us. You can also let the head hang heavy here if you'd like, or you can place a block and rest your head on a block. You can remove the block if you're using one, coming all the way down to the mat, slowly bringing the forehead to the forearms. Just take a couple of rounds of breath here, letting the lower back soften and release. Place the hands under the shoulders, press back and come into tabletop. We'll just move through some cat-cows here. So wrists stacked under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We'll press into the earth, And find some space between the shoulders. Gently draw the navel in towards the spine. And check in with your tailbone, with your hips. Just find a nice stable tabletop. And then on the inhale, drop the belly and let the tailbone rise. Gaze comes forward. Exhale, pressing into the earth, rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone. Gaze comes towards the navel. Inhale, dropping back into cow, opening the heart space. Tailbone rises. Exhale, rounding into cat, tucking the tailbone. Just move through these at your own pace with your breath. Just connecting the breath with the movement, feeling into the corners of the body, into the shoulders and the hips, to the spine, just creating some space in the spine here to allow that energy to flow and begin to move through the body more freely. You'd like to take some atypical movements, or maybe take the hips in circles or side to side, or feel more into the rib cage and the shoulders. Just take a moment to just find some free-flowing movement. Just checking in with where we are today, how our body is feeling. Coming back through center, finding your tabletop. Draw the right knee towards the right wrist and come into pigeon on the right side. You can place a block underneath the right hip, and this can help give some support so that you can play around with where you want your leg to be. It doesn't have to be parallel to the front of the mat, but just kind of move around and see where you want to be. You can also bring your bolster to the front of the mat, and you can stay up on the hands, but if you have sensitive wrists or elbows even, maybe coming to the forearms, or if you'd like to come all the way down, you can. Whatever feels comfortable to you, always making choices that honor your body. So you can even come up to the bolster on your hands if you want. You can always change positions, make any adjustments, but we want to find some stillness so that we can allow those deeper layers of our muscles to release. If you ever need to come out of a pose because it's too intense, feel free to do so. And just take any shape that feels comfortable to you. Here we're breathing into that right hip, maybe even the left hip flexor a little. Just inviting it to soften, to release. Walk the hands back, remove the block, and send that right leg back. Coming back through tabletop, maybe taking a brief child's pose, either with the knees together or knees width of the mat. We won't be here long, just a little reset. Coming back through tabletop, find where your alignment is, your hips square, and then bring the left knee up towards the left wrist and finding pigeon on the opposite side. Taking time to adjust wherever you'd like to be. Doesn't have to be the same place you were on the other side. Our bodies are different on each side and every day. Breathing into the left hip. Maybe even checking in with our hips and sending the front of the right hip down a little. Making sure they're somewhat square to the floor and even. And walk the hands back. Release any props. Coming back through tabletop, just taking another brief child's pose, whatever you like, just to rebound here. Come back through tabletop, finding dragon pose on the right side. So step or heel toe walk, bringing right foot to the outside of the right hand. And then bring it in alignment with the hip, walking in a little bit. And pressing through the sole of the right foot. You can tuck the back toes as well if you'd like. Inhale, draw the arms up, reaching skyward. Exhale, cactus the arms back, opening the heart center. Inhale, reaching up, interlacing the fingers and placing them behind the right knee. Gentle lunge forward here. Finding some length in the spine. Breathing into the heart space. Shoulder blades together. And if you'd like to come down to blocks, you can bring the blocks to either side of your right foot. You can walk the right foot out a little towards the front of the mat, releasing the back toes and letting the hips sink down towards the earth. Still opening the heart here. Dragon pose. We're thinking about stepping forward courageously, tuning into the heart center's energy of courage, devotion, love, joy, connection. And physically feeling into the left hip flexor, releasing here, breathing into the right hip. Exhale, send the hips back. Keep the right toes pointed towards the front of the room. Just a gentle half split here. Shifting the weight forward, releasing the blocks and bringing the hands to the inside of the right foot. Step or walk that right leg back. Be extending all the way behind you and tucking the toes and just stretching through the back side of that right leg. And coming back to tabletop. Finding your strong tabletop position and then moving into dragon on the left side. So stepping or walking that left foot forward to meet the hands. Walking the foot in alignment with the hip. And then pressing through the left foot, tucking the back toes. Inhaling, coming all the way up. Exhale, cactus the arms, open the heart. Inhale, all the way up, interlacing the fingers and placing them behind the left knee. You can make any adjustments here to alignment. Check in with the hips. See if they're in line with the front of the mat or in a way that feels square to you. And find some length. Lengthening the spine on the inhale, drawing the shoulders down away from the ears. Shoulder blades together, opening the heart. Really pressing into the sole of the left foot. Whenever you're ready, if you would like to, come down to blocks on either side of that foot and gently lunge forward, softening the hips towards the earth, untucking the toes. You can leave the toes tucked if that feels good to you too. Opening the heart, feeling into the left hip and the right hip flexor opening. Exhale, send the hips back, nice and slow. And release. Bringing the hands to the inside of the left foot. Bringing the left foot back, tucking the toes, and just stretching into the back side of the left leg. And we'll come to our backs on the mat. So you can leave the blanket and use it as cushion for the lower back if you'd like, or move it out of the way, whatever you'd like to do. We'll have the knees bent, feet hip distance apart. We'll just take a slow windshield wiper with the knees back and forth. We've done a lot of hip work today. And one of the reasons that we're focusing on the hips during this practice is the hips hold a lot of emotion and a lot of tension. And if we don't process that, it just kind of becomes stored there. So in kind of releasing some of the tension here, we're releasing some of that energy. And if we're not grounded and we don't feel safe and secure, which is the energy of the hips, it's really difficult for us to come into the space of the heart center, to expand our potential for love and connection when we're in that space of maybe fight or flight or survival. So focusing some awareness here on the hips and just thinking about releasing what no longer serves us, what we no longer need for our growth, and to move forward. And coming back through center, just drawing the knees in towards the body, grabbing on wherever you can, and maybe just rocking side to side. And dropping the feet back down to the mat. We'll cross the right leg over the left And you can stay here if this feels good to you, if you feel like you have a little bit of a stretch here. If you'd like to take this into a twist, we'll shift the hips over to the left a little, cross the right leg over the left, and then draw the knees down to the right. So coming into a twist, however that looks for you, if you decide to come into that twist, you can place blocks to support you underneath your right thigh or maybe between the knees to kind of lessen that twist on the lower spine. Just make choices that feel right. There's no right or wrong way to do a pose, just what feels right to your body. We'll bring the arms out to a T once you arrive where you want to be. And we'll bring the gaze over the left fingertips. Coming back into the space of the belly, into the space of the solar plexus. This is where we can alchemize a lot of those energies that we're looking to release. This includes anger, shame, sadness, past times that we have been hurt. We can think about releasing that from the heart and alchemizing this into healing energy through our solar plexus, through our bellies. And whatever doesn't serve us, that we don't need to integrate, we can release that through our root chakra, through our legs, all the way down to the soles of our feet. So just breathing into the space with the intention to release, to let go. And inhale, draw the knees back up through center if you're in that twist. Unwind. And maybe draw the knees back in towards the body, giving them a little squeeze, a little rock. And moving into the opposite side. So we're dropping the feet back down to the mat. If you would like to take this into a twist, you can move the hips over to the right a little and cross the left leg over the right, drawing the knees down towards the earth, or you can just stay in the middle with the legs crossed left over the right and bring the arms out to a T and the gaze over the right fingertips. And so tuning into that space of the solar plexus. Breathing into the belly. We'll go ahead and uncross, come back through center. Draw the knees in, or maybe extend the legs out long. Taking a big stretch. And bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees fall open. We'll take a reclined butterfly here. So bringing those blocks to the hips, just underneath the hips, like we did in the beginning. We took the supine version. And coming back to placing one hand on the belly and one hand on the heart. Just reconnect here. This is kind of where we started, just breathing into these spaces. Let the breath fill the belly and the chest. Notice if it feels different to breathe into these spaces than it did at the beginning of class. No judgment, just noticing our bodies here. Noticing if there was any shift. You can release the arms whenever you like, bringing them out to the sides or resting on the rib cage. You can stay here if you'd like, or release the blocks and come into Shavasana, either with the knees bent or legs out long, whatever variation of Shavasana you would like to take. Just take up some space on your mat. Take a cleansing breath in through the nose. Exhale, releasing. And just begin to let go. Let go of the practice and anything that did or didn't happen as expected today. Just finding some time to rest and integrate here. You've done a lot of work energetically and physically today. So just give yourself permission to rest. Create some movement in the fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Maybe take a big stretch again or for the first time. And in whatever way is intuitive to you, make your way to a seated position. Let's take a moment with the hands over the heart here. Just a moment of gratitude towards yourself for creating this time and space to connect today and to explore the heart's potential. Gratitude for community, and for bodies that can move in any way during today's practice. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice of yin yoga on this sunny Saturday morning. It is my greatest wish that you carry the benefit of this practice with you throughout the rest of your day, your weekend, and beyond. Satnam, may you align with your favorite versions of you. Thank you.